Yeah, good morning, everybody. I'm audible now?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So in the last class, in the previous class, we have come across. So why we have to study these principles of microprocessor and computer organization course, and what is the reason why you have to study microprocessor? Because knowing what is microprocessor and inside uh, microprocessor will help you to design, develop, and implement the application better, faster, cheaper, and more efficient, and also easier to use. And why we have to study this computer organization? So what do you mean by computer organization? So computer organization, it encompasses all the physical aspects of the computer system, like CPU or the microprocessor. Okay, its ALU, control unit. Okay, the registers. Okay, the input and output units, the memory unit. Okay, and so on. So why study computer organization? So it will help you resolve mysteries of how software executes on hardware. So if you need to program the IO devices, the operating system, the embedded system, okay, you need to understand how the processor interacts with the surroundings. Okay, then you need to have the knowledge of the computer organization, and also to know the underlying performance of the processor. Then we have come across um, the course description. So as I said, the first part introduces the basic concepts of the Intel 8086 microprocessor and how to program the 8086 microprocessor using the assembly language program. Okay, and then the second part.
Sir, your screen is not visible.
Yeah, I will share it. Okay, I'm just refreshing the previous class. So whatever we have studied. Okay, yeah. So the second part is all about the design of the different hardware computer parts and how they come together to form a computer system. So basically, there we will see how components um, of the computer are connected together. Okay, how components interact with each other, and we'll address the issues such as control signals, memory technology, the role of IO devices, and so on. Okay, and we have come across the course objectives. Okay, and also the course outcomes, and then the assessment plan. Okay, and CIE is for 50 marks, and the semester end examination is for 50 marks. So the proper division of CIE, let you know. Yeah. So coming to the today's agenda. Okay. Yeah, are you able to see the screen? Are you able to see the screen, all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So today, let us know the history of the microprocessor. Okay. Here we'll discuss the a function of the microprocessor in the microprocessor based system also. And then we'll discuss the contents of the memory system in the personal computers. So before that, let me ask you the definition of a microprocessor. Okay, basic definition of microprocessor. So anybody? So what do you mean by microprocessor? Anybody can answer? The CPU of a microcomputer is called as the microprocessor, isn't it? So it is a CPU built on a single semiconductor integrated circuit. And this microprocessor has millions of transistors, the resistors and the diodes connected together on a single IC chip. And it is a programmable device. Microprocessor is a programmable device that accepts binary instructions from the storage the device called the microprocessor, the memory, accepts the binary data as input, okay, and process it and produces, that means they process the binary data that is taken as input according to and process it according to the instructions and produces the result as the output. And what do you mean by microcomputer? A CPU combined with or a microprocessor combined with the memory input and output unit is called the microcomputer. Okay. And what are the characteristics of microprocessor? So as I said, the performance of the microprocessor depends upon several factors. Which are those characteristics? One is the clock speed. What do you mean by clock speed? Anybody? The speed at which the microprocessor executes instruction is called the clock speed. Okay, or the number of operations that can be performed by the microprocessor per second is called the clock speed. Okay, and it is measured in terms of hertz. Okay, megahertz, gigahertz, and so on. And then another factor is the instruction set. Instruction set is nothing but the number of instructions that a microprocessor can understand, and then the word size or the word length. So word length or word size is nothing but the number of bits that can be processed by a microprocessor at a time. Okay. So let us start with the syllabus. Okay. Let us know the evolution of the microprocessor, the history of microprocessor. So these microprocessors have undergone the significant evolution over the past 5 decades. So let us discuss how the microprocessor originated and came into existence. So these microprocessors evolved from the invention of the transistor and the integrated circuit. So the first transistor was introduced in 1947, and then the integrated circuit was introduced in 1958 by Jack Kilby from Texas Instruments and Dr. Robert Noyce from Fairchild Semiconductor Company. Okay. So there is a common way of categorizing these microprocessor, okay, which is based on the width of the data bus or the number of bits that can be processed by a microprocessor at a time, or according to the generations. Okay. So that means we divide the years of development of microprocessor as 5 generations. Okay. First generation, second generation, third generation, fourth generation, and fifth generation. Okay. So starting from the year 1972 till date. So coming to the first generation microprocessor. Okay. So first generation microprocessor are also called as the 4-bit microprocessor. Okay. The first generation microprocessor were introduced between 1971 and 1973. And one such 4-bit microprocessor is the 4004. Okay. And this is the IC number of the microprocessor. Okay. 4004 is nothing but the microprocessor IC number. Okay. And so this was the first microprocessor introduced in 1971 by the Intel Corporation. Okay. The company is the Intel. Okay. The popular manufacturer of most of the microprocessor is the Intel Corporation. Okay. And what are its characteristics? So 4004 is a 4-bit microprocessor. So why it is called as 4-bit microprocessor? The 4-bit here indicates the word length or the word size of the microprocessor. As I said, word length is nothing but the number of bits that can be processed by the microprocessor at a time. So this 4004 microprocessor can process 4-bit information at a time. Okay, now to perform a task. 4-bit microprocessor in the sense like its ALU, its registers, okay, control unit, the buses, okay, are capable of performing operations on the 4-bit. So that is the meaning of the word size or the word length of the microprocessor. So this word length, as I said, it is a 4-bit. So this word length is equivalent to the data bus. So this word length depends on the width of the data bus. Okay. Then I can say that this 4-bit, this 4004 has a 4-bit data bus. Okay. So as I said, word length is equivalent to the data bus. Okay. Width of the data bus. And its clock speed was 740 kilohertz. So it is capable of operating at a clock speed of 740 kilohertz. Okay. And it is a processor on a single chip, and it had 12-bit address lines to access 4096 memory locations. That means this indicates the memory size or memory capacity of the 4004 microprocessor. Okay, what do you mean by memory size or memory capacity? Memory capacity or memory size is nothing but the amount of information that a computer can store in its memory. So that is called as the memory size or the memory capacity. Okay. And this memory size and the memory capacity is determined by the width of the address bus. Okay, it depends upon the width of the address bus, as I said. Okay. So the memory capacity depends upon the width of the address bus. So this 4004 microprocessor has 12-bit address lines. That means it has a 12-bit address bus. Okay. So what is the formula for calculating the memory capacity then? So formula is nothing but 2 to the power of n. So where n is the number of address lines bits. Okay. So it has, as I said, it has 12-bit address lines. Okay. 2 to the power of 12 means, so it comes around 4096 memory locations. Okay. So this Intel 4004 microprocessor is capable of accessing a total of 4096 memory locations. Okay. So that is how you calculate the memory size or memory capacity, which depends upon the width of the address bus or the total number of address lines. And it had 2300 transistors. Okay. and contained only 45 instructions. That means the instructions contained only 45 instructions. And what is the problem with this microprocessor 4004? It could perform only simple arithmetic and logical operations such as addition, subtraction. Okay, and the main problem with this microprocessor was the speed. They were low speed. Okay, the word width and the memory size. So then similarly, the application started demanding the microprocessor, okay, that has capability of having more database width, okay, speed, okay, and also the instruction set and so on. Okay. So then the second generation microprocessor came into existence. Okay. So second generation microprocessor, also called as the 8-bit microprocessor. Okay. So they were introduced between 1972 and 1976. And it was the first 8-bit microprocessor produced by or manufactured by Intel, the 8008. Okay, so 8008 is the first 8-bit microprocessor, okay, introduced by the Intel Corporation. Okay, and its clock speed was 500 kilohertz, and it has a 14-bit address lines. That means the address bus is a 14-bit address. 14-bit means what is the memory capacity? 2 to the power of 14. Okay, that means it has expanded memory size of 16 kilobytes. Okay, so 2 to the power of 14 bit is nothing but 16 kilobytes. That means it is capable of addressing 16 kilobytes of memory locations. And when compared to 4004 microprocessor, so this 8008 microprocessor contained additional instructions, okay, a total of 48. So whereas 4004 microprocessor contains only 45 instructions. Okay. And these in early microprocessor, okay, there were no floating point hardware, okay, in order to perform the floating point calculations. Okay, you can perform only the integer calculations. Okay. So next microprocessor was the improved version of the 8008, that is called as 8080, okay, 8080. So it is also an 8-bit microprocessor. Okay, only the difference with respect to 8008 is the increase in the clock speed. Okay, so it is designed to operate at a clock speed of 2 megahertz. Okay, and this is the microprocessor 808 80. So then came the 8085 microprocessor. Okay, and this is the most popular microprocessor. Okay, used in that period between 72 to 1976. Okay, and 8085 is a 8-bit microprocessor. Okay, and what is the width of the address bus? 16-bit. It has a 16-bit address bus. Okay, and therefore it is capable of addressing how many bytes of memory location? 64 kilobytes of memory locations. That means 2 to the power of 16 is nothing but 64 kilobytes of memory. And it is designed to operate at a clock speed of 3 megahertz. And at the same time, the other manufacturer also started producing the microprocessors. Okay, some other 8-bit microprocessor are okay from Motorola. Motorola's 6800. It is a 8-bit microprocessor. Motorola's 6801. Okay, it is also an 8-bit microprocessor, and Zilog's Z80. So Z80 is also an 8-bit microprocessor. Then comes the third generation microprocessor, also called as the 16-bit microprocessor. Okay, so and they were introduced between 1978 and 1980. Okay, and the first 16-bit microprocessor designed by Intel Corporation is 8086. Okay, so this is the one that we are studying in your course. Okay, 8086 microprocessor. And this 8086 microprocessor was introduced in 1978. And what are its characteristics? Its clock speed was from 4.77 megahertz to 10 megahertz. Okay. And how many bit address bus it has? So it has 20 bit address lines. Okay. That means what is the memory capacity of this microprocessor? 2 to the power of 20. Okay, so memory capacity, as I said, depends upon the width of the address bus. Okay, so it has a 20 bit address bus. So 2 to the power of 20 is nothing but 1 megabyte of memory. And what are the other features? It has 4 or 6 byte instruction queue. Okay, so this instruction queue is designed to prefetch the next instructions before they are executed. So that is the advantage of the instruction queue. So the instruction queue prefetches few instructions before they are executed. So before the current instruction was executed, okay, the next instruction will be prefetched and stored in this instruction queue. So that is in order to speed up the execution of the instructions. Okay. After 8086 came the 8088. It is also 16-bit microprocessor. Okay. And then came the 80186. Okay, and it is also a 16-bit microprocessor, and it operates at a clock speed of 6 megahertz. Okay, it also has a 20-bit address bus. So then came 80286. It is also a 16-bit microprocessor, and it has a 24-bit address bus. See the increase in the width of the address bus. Okay. So 8086, 8088, and 8186, they are all having the 20-bit address bus. But this 80286 has 24-bit address bus. Okay. So obviously they have the expanded the memory capacity. Okay. So what is the memory capacity? 2 to the power of 24. That means 16 MB memory. So 8026 is capable of addressing 16 megabytes of memory. And what is the clock speed? So it is 8 megahertz. Okay. And at the during this period, okay, the 16-bit microprocessor from other manufacturer also came into existence. They are Motorola's 68000, 68010, Zilog's Z800. Okay, they are also the 16-bit microprocessor. Okay. So again, as I said, applications began to demand the faster microprocessor speed, more memory, and wider data bus or data path. And this led to the arrival of the next generation microprocessor, that is 32-bit microprocessor. So 4th generation microprocessor are called as the 32-bit microprocessors. Okay, and these microprocessors were introduced between 1981 and 1995. And the first 32-bit microprocessor introduced by Intel Corporation was the 80386. Okay, so it is the first 32-bit microprocessor. Then what is its data bus? Width of the data bus? 32-bit. Okay. As I said, the word length or word size is equivalent to the data bus. Okay. So it has 32-bit data bus, and it has 32-bit address bus. Okay. See the increase in the address bus lines. Okay. So it has 32-bit address lines. Okay. So obviously there will be increase in the memory capacity. Okay. So 2 to the power of 32 means 4 GB memory. So it is capable of addressing 4 gigabytes of memory. And its clock speed varied from 16 megahertz to 33 megahertz. And 3 different versions of 8086 arrived, and these are 80386DX, 80386SX, and H0386 SL. So here there is slightly typing mistake. It is not 80836, it is 80386. Okay, SX and SL. And some other 32-bit microprocessor from other manufacturers are again Motorola's 68020 and 68030. They are also the 32-bit microprocessor. And as in other third generation microprocessor, they also have 4R6 instruction queue. And other improvements include more registers, okay, and they have additional instructions. So after 8036, we have 804486 also, which is also a 32-bit microprocessor. Okay, and then we have Pentium microprocessors. Okay, from the Intel Corporation. Okay, so Pentium is also a 32-bit microprocessor. See the increase in the width of the data bus. Okay, so it is a 32-bit microprocessor, but it has 64-bit data bus. And what is the address bus width? It has 32-bit address bus, so obviously capable of addressing to the power of 32 bytes of memory location. That is 4 gigabytes of memory, and clock speed is 66 megahertz. Okay, and it has come with 2 cache memory. Okay. So what is cache? Anybody? What is cache? So cache memory is extremely fast memory that is built into a CPU and located next to it on a separate and used directly by the processor. Okay, this cache memory is used directly by the processor for storing instructions that are to be executed frequently. Okay, so it is also a RAM that a microprocessor can access more quickly than it accesses the regular RAM. So the CPU or the microprocessor uses the cache memory to store instructions that are repeatedly required to run the programs. So thereby improving the overall system's speed. And the cache is built into CPU itself. Okay, is referred to as level 1 cache. Okay, and cache that resides on a separate next to the CPU is called as level 2 cache. It is also called as L2 cache. Okay. And some CPUs have both L1 and L2 cache built in and designated the separate cache chip as level 3 cache. Level 1, level 2, and level 3. L1, L2, and L3. And this Intel Pentium comes with 2 cache memory. Okay, level 1 is 8 KB size, and level 2 is 8 KB. Okay, and level 1 cache is for storing instructions, and level 2 cache is for storing data. And then came the Intel Pro, Pentium Pro. So it is also a 32-bit microprocessor. So it has a 64-bit data bus. Okay, so a 32-bit address bus, 4 gigabytes of memory, clock speed increased to 150 megahertz. Okay, and it also has 2 cache memories. Okay, and the L1 cache is of 16 kilobyte. Okay, and the 16 kilobyte L1 cache is split into 8 KB for instructions and 8 KB for the data. Okay, and the L2 cache is of 256 kilobytes. Then we have Intel Pentium 2. It is also a 32-bit microprocessor. It has 32-bit data bus, and it has 36-bit address bus. Okay, see the increase in the width of the address bus. Okay, or the number of address lines. So, and obviously, what is the memory size? 2 to the power of 36 means 64 gigabytes of memory, and clock speed increased to 260 megahertz. Okay? And it has two cache memory, L1 cache and L2 cache. L1 cache is of 32 kilobytes, okay, and L2 cache is of 512 kilobytes. And then came the Intel Pentium 3, okay. So it is also a 30-bit microprocessor, 30-bit data bus, 36-bit data bus, okay, 64 GB memory, clock speed 18 megahertz and above, and L1 and L2 cache. L1 is 32 kilobyte and L2 is 256 kilobyte. Okay. Then came Intel Pentium 4. It is also a 30-bit microprocessor. Okay. One minute. Then the 5th generation microprocessor, they are also called as 64-bit microprocessor, and they were introduced between 2005 to till date. Okay, and in these generation of microprocessor, no, they are called as microprocessor having many cores. Okay? And one such microprocessor is called as the Core 2. Okay? So it was introduced in 2006. Okay? And it has 64 kilobytes of L1 cache and 4 MB of L2 cache, and clock speed from 1.2 gigahertz to 3 gigahertz. There are 3 different versions of Core 2. These are Core 2 Duo, Core 2 Quad, Core 2 Extreme. So what do you mean by core? Core is nothing but a core contains, the core is nothing but a CPU processor itself. Okay, so core contains the processor's essential operating circuits. Okay, so each core does its own tasks. Okay, and then we have more than one core, that is called as multiple cores, to handle the faster working of data. Okay, and each core can communicate with each other. Okay, and perform the multi-processing. Okay, so cores were introduced in these 5th generation microprocessors. Okay, so then came the Core i3, so introduced in 2010, as 2 physical cores. Okay, and clock speed is from 2.93 gigahertz to 3.33 gigahertz, and it has 64 KB of L1 cache and 512 KB of L2 cache and 4 MB of L3 cache. Okay, and then we have Core i7. Okay, it is also called as a quad core microprocessor because it has 4 physical cores. So this is the table that shows the Intel family of microprocessor. Okay, with respect to the data bus width, the address bus width, and the memory size. Okay, so see the Intel family of microprocessor. Okay, they started from 8086 microprocessor. Okay, till Core i7. Okay. And this 8086 was, it has 16-bit data bus, 20-bit address bus, and memory size is 1 megabyte. So 8088 has 8-bit data bus width. It is a 16-bit microprocessor, but it has 8-bit data bus width, and address bus is 20-bit and 1 megabyte of memory. Okay, so like that. Okay. Similarly, the other microprocessor. Okay. Any doubts here? Students?